move
Yeah.
on.
And unfortunately, we will have to move on because that's all the time we have. I agree with all the points you're making there. I also want to say we were acknowledging all the gifting of memberships that was going on. I do also want to say Keith Dental, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Today was, by the way, the most individual gifted memberships since we started the Dragonathon. Thank you everyone who participated in that. Thank you everyone else who's been watching too, but thank you everybody who participated in that. Really do appreciate it. You helped a lot of people have a little bit more fun. They get the emojis, they get the members content and everything. So thank you for that. Thank you, Viviana, for being here. It's always a pleasure having you here. Congrats again on the engagement.
Thank you.
Congratulations for you, and also to your fiance. Very smart guy to lock himself into that maternal. What phrase did you use? Maternal leash or whatever.
Shackle.
Maternal shackle. But anyway, thank you as always. We'll definitely talk soon. Thank you everyone out there. Tomorrow's Big News Wednesday. I hope to see you there. For now though, stay safe out there. Stay sane out there. We'll see you soon.
I love that music. It just gets me going. It gets me pumped up. I'm Sharon Reed in for Dr. Rashad Ritchie, and this is Indisputable. And welcoming a special guest co-host today, the one and only Jackson White, Politics and Paper.
Hello.
How are
Always
you,
good to be
Jackson?
here. I'm doing pretty good. It's a nice, sunny, warm weather up here in northern New Jersey, and stuff's going pretty good. I'm in a good mood. It's good to be here with you.
All right, well, we'll try to keep you there, but I think we've got to launch into it, and I'm not sure this first story is going to do it, Jackson. But want to hear what you have to say? Always love your commentary. So here we go. We begin with an update. A Black teen acted in self-defense in the Kaylee Gain fight. In an update, more proof has surfaced that Marnice DeClue, who was seen on a viral video slamming Kaylee Gain's head into a pavement near Missouri school, was acting in self-defense. According to a juvenile officer who testified in the St. Louis Family Court on Friday, Marnice DeClue was responding to being punched first by Kaylee Gain, who was known to be a serial fighter. The officer who was overseeing Marnice's case serves much like prosecutors do in the adult system. This according to KDSK. The testimony, it came as attorneys tried to persuade a judge to release the 15-year-old to her family from a juvenile facility where she had been since March after being charged with felony assault. Lana Blackstar filling in the details for us. Now, the viral fight, you may recall, March 8th, had left Gain with severe injuries, including a brain bleed, which resulted in part of the teen's skull being removed. The brutal beating that shocked many after it was captured on video depicted Marnice as a violent aggressor who heartlessly brutalized Gain, age 16, leading her family to campaign for the 15-year-old to be tried as an adult for the alleged attack. Atlanta Black Star again. However, Marnice's family, though regretful that the fight ended with Gain being hospitalized, argued that the behavior was abnormal for Marnice, who has good grades, no history of disciplinary issues. Multiple teachers also testified about Marnice's academic success and good behavior in court on Friday. 15-year-old skipped the 7th grade and was an honor roll student, according to those who took the stand. The juvenile officer who reviewed school records also pointed out that Gain had been suspended the day before the brawl for fighting another girl. Greg Smith, an attorney for the DeClue family, previously told local outlets that due to the suspension, Gain was not supposed to be near school grounds that day and returned to the area to settle a score that stemmed from the previous fight with one of Marnice's friends. Clinton Gain, Kaylee's father, previously told the New York Post that he found text messages showing that the two girls had agreed to the fight that day. He also admitted that his daughter was constantly in trouble for physical altercations with other students. Members of Kaylee's family seemed to backtrack in an impact statement to the court on Friday after months of demonizing Marnice. There's more. St. Louis County Circuit Court Judge Jason Dodson ruled against the motion despite the number of witnesses speaking highly of the teen's character. However, Dodson said his decision was made to safeguard Marnice, a Black girl who has reportedly received several death threats since the video went viral. We'll be discussing that excuse. We will be discussing that excuse. Keep her safe by keeping her locked up. Okay, Judge. School officials have also received derogatory messages, St. Louis Post-Dispatch reports. Quote, employees answering phones are called the N-word or N-lover, according to a complaint. Bomb threats have been made to individual employees and at schools, to which law enforcement have had to respond. That's what law enforcement does. When a threat is made, they're supposed to respond. Let's start backwards, if you will, Jackson. This notion that you have to keep this honor roll student who was involved in a vicious fight, not the instigator. And that's according to the juvenile representative of the court. Honor roll student, not in trouble before, versus a serial fighter who was unfortunately seriously hurt. Keep her locked up, the judge says, for her own good. Not buying it. Are you?
Not particularly. I mean, I think definitely, especially given the fact of how, really gruesome the fight was, people will kind of keep that in their mind to say that she's just a monster. Unfortunately, Kaylee's head ended up getting hit on the concrete. If that didn't happen, then this wouldn't have blown over so much, because at the end of the day, both of these young women are kids. Both of them have time to improve upon themselves and to grow. And, kids will be kids. That saying exists for a reason. You're immature, your brain isn't fully developed or whatever. But evidence showing that Kaylee was, a bully or always instigating fights, stuff like this can happen. Especially, this is St. Louis where I grew up, and really anywhere, there's violence. And if you participate in violence with any type of, habitually, then eventually you're probably going to get seriously injured or killed or sent to prison. So this is just kind of what happens when you always want to be up fighting in the middle of violence. Again, unfortunately, her head was hit on concrete, so she's in a very bad position. But if Marnice is an honor student and hasn't been in trouble before, given the fact that she's 15, I think that we should have some leniency for her, show her a little empathy and understanding. But, again, I think it's also fair that she maybe get a little bit of punishment because she cracked someone's head open. So I don't think she should get off scot-free, but I also don't think she should be tried as an adult. So that's my take on it.
I guess I'm having some trouble with the both sides again. And I see it perhaps a little bit differently than you do, Jackson. Here we have an honor roll student who's never been in trouble. Her court officer is testifying it was self-defense. If somebody comes to my home, and again, I don't want to see a child hurt. The part of your rebuke that resonated with me was these are children, and we have to accept that. But if someone comes to my home and I'm protecting myself, my daughter, and they end up seriously hurt after attacking me, should I be held responsible for that? The other part of this is there seems to be a complete ignoring of the fact that we're not dealing with two children. We're dealing with an honor roll student and an extremely troubled child. And we've seen these cases where a Black child gets in trouble for far less. And my goodness, their parents are held accountable, because this has happened before. My parents are held accountable for the child's actions because you're not supporting your child in the way your child needs to be supported. I'm not even blaming the parents. I'm just telling you, reminding you of what's out there. And so I wonder what you make of both sides in this case and an outpouring of largely white St. Louis. Too much violence in schools, Jackson. But this outpouring of a certain segment, and suddenly, well, you're in juvie hall.
Well, the only reason I'm willing to give some leniency is because we're talking about 15-year-olds. We're not talking about adults who, should know better
Agreed.
fully. That's the only reason that I'm willing to give, Kaylee a little bit of grace, because again, perhaps she can grow and improve because she's 15. But now that there's evidence to show that Marnice is not, a violent offender who goes around doing stuff like this, again, I don't think that she should be charged or tried as an adult. And I also think that she should get forgiveness because, again, she's 15 years old. And if Kaylee's head wasn't slammed on concrete, nobody would be talking about this. It would have just been another fight. So, it's just a tough situation. But I think that, Marnice should be given another chance and forgiven.
Yeah.
And Kaylee should learn if she's able to from what happened, then hopefully this will teach her that violence is not a good idea to live by.
Yeah, we want to get this young lady some help, right? Because you're right, she's a child, and that must happen. And I'll tell you something else, is I don't have to remind you, Jackson, but if you put a child in juvenile detention, the child's not surrounded by love and guidance there. The child is surrounded by other, perhaps young offenders, and no good can come of that. Put her back in the environment that produced an honor roll student. We'll keep following the case. We'll move on, though. Kindergartner given poisonous candies where? Well, you see the lockers. It happened at school. Nellie Stone Johnson Elementary School in Minneapolis. Coming under scrutiny now by the local community after 6-year-old kindergartner Takaya Hodges Listenby, on the left there, was allegedly poisoned by a classmate during school hours. Takaya's mother, Rachel Hodges, on the right, telling reporters last week that on Monday, May 6th, she received a call from the school telling her Takaya had thrown up and appeared to be having seizures. Imagine sending your child to school and getting a call like that. When Hodges arrived, Takaya was shaking, having trouble walking, disoriented. I can't look, this sweet face. The mother said she didn't know who I was. Hodges told local station WCCO. She didn't know my mom. She has a twin. She didn't know him. I've never even seen a child act that way, she continued. And it's just sad because she's scared of me and I'm her mom. During the broadcast, video recorded by Hodges showed the kindergartner shaking and making disconcerting facial expressions. According to the posts on Hodges' social media account, the school did not call emergency medical services. Mom drove her little girl to the local hospital's emergency room instead. According to Hodges, the doctors immediately ruled out a seizure. And they're still waiting on blood work results to determine the medical cause of her symptoms. Lena Blackstar with the details. Takaya told her mother another child in her class gave her brightly colored pills, telling her it's candy. But she pranked me, Takaya said to the CBS affiliate WCCO. After I ate them, she said, just kidding. They're poisonous candies. My body was hurting, and yeah, it was scary. Takaya's symptoms included episodes of bizarre behavior, mood changes, hallucinations that are still continuing on and off, according to her mom. After the incident, the police assessed Takaya and noticed her eyes were dilated. Her eyes were crossed and bugged really big, and they knew she had to have ingested something she shouldn't have, said Hodges. Spokesperson for the Minneapolis police stated, in accordance with normal procedure for processing a report involving young children, this case has been referred to Child Protective Services. MPD will continue to partner with CPS as the case moves forward. Many in the local community are outraged. Hodges' voice is chief among them, questioning how this could have happened on school grounds, much less in a kindergarten class. On her official Facebook account, the shaken mother asked people to step forward with information and blasted the school for alleged negligence. Quote, a kindergartner forced my daughter to take a street drug in class when the teacher stepped out of the room, then bullied and punched her. He told her it was candy and would give her superpowers. He said would black her eye if she wouldn't eat it. My 6-year-old overdosed and had a seizure at school. Nobody knew why my daughter was having seizures and throwing up. No EMS was called. I transported my own kid to the ER while shaking and in shock. She is still not herself. Please share. Parents need to know what is going on at Nellie Stone Johnson, Minneapolis Public Schools, Nellie Stone Johnson Community Schools. I want to know what you think about the story thus far, Jackson.
I mean, this is like one of those worst case scenario type of things. You know, you hear about Halloween candies getting poisoned, but you know, a lot of that is just in the back of your mind. Stuff like this doesn't really happen every day. This reminds me of I can't remember what state it was, but there was a little girl whose like finger got cut off or something, and nobody called the parents or the hospital. I think her finger got slammed in a door or something. That I can't recall, but I know we covered that on this show before. I mean, this has all types of liabilities in it. If a kindergartner gave this girl these drugs, then I would assume that that kindergartner's parents should be held to account. Like, how does this kid have these drugs? Why do they even know about it? In terms of like a lawsuit that could be brought up. But also, too, why would you not call the hospital? Why would you not call EMS? Like that should be the very first thing on your mind. So there's just so many people who are wrong in this scenario. And again, like how do you respond to that if you're this little girl's mother or father? You know, what do you really do? How can you not be totally outraged? So my question is, what's up with this kindergartner's parents? How did he even get the candy? And I think they should be tried in the case for sure.
Yeah, and there's more to this story. It's unbelievable. As a mother, a single mom, if I send my daughter to school, Jackson, listen, you get calls sometimes. Kids get sick. It happens. You got to come pick up your child. That's not what we're talking about here. It's unbelievable. They didn't rush this child to the emergency room. It is also unclear why rather Hodges' description of the incident on social media differs slightly from the one her daughter described to reporters. A reporter from WCCO said he had contacted and emailed Minneapolis Public Schools multiple times for comment. Minneapolis Public Schools responded to WCCO's request for comment on Thursday, May 9th with the following. Let's put it up. Minneapolis Public Schools prioritizes the safety of all of our students and takes all concerns related to safety seriously. I'm obligated to read the rest of this statement, but I'm already ticked off.
Right.
I'm already sincerely ticked off. I'm so tired of this common line that's pushed out despite the worst circumstances. You didn't get the child to the emergency room. So no, you don't prioritize the safety of all students. You don't. You didn't in this case. Something's up. As I said, I'm obligated to read the rest of it. Due to data privacy laws, we're unable to disclose specific details relating to this incident. However, the matter is being investigated, and we are working closely with those who are directly impacted. MPS will also work cooperatively with law enforcement and other agencies as appropriate. We are committed to ensuring a safe and welcoming learning environment for all of our students and families. I may have been able to swallow the statement whole if they would have ended with the word now, as if perhaps they made changes. But as it stands, I can't eat that statement up. I can't. Minneapolis Public Schools is overseen by Superintendent Dr. Lisa Sales Adams and Principal Kelly Wright. She leads Nellie Stone Johnson Elementary School. Hodges also alleged on social media that the school denied the incident happened, saying it was a misunderstanding. Please say you didn't. Please say you didn't do that. Recent Facebook post from May 12th, Kaya's aunt, Brittany Alexander, shared, "My day is complete. My niece is having a good day today. Kaya is a strong girl." Well, thank goodness she's a strong girl, Jackson. This is horrible to consider just face value. But it's always what happens next. This statement that says we are doing everything in our power and we always have. That's basically paraphrasing, but that's what they're saying here. And the principal, the superintendent, and something about putting out, misunderstanding. If it's your kid, is it misunderstanding? You know what kind of pain it is when you ingest poison and that little body? I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, if I was her parents, and I won't be surprised if we do see this, I would sue the pants off of the school district, because how else are you going to show that you're sorry? How else are you really going to show that you do have students' first interest and rather best interest at heart? How else can you really prove that other than making this family whole in some type of brand way? Because now this is kind of a part of the Minneapolis school brands. Like, we don't really care. We're just kind of going through the motions. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, what? The very first thing I would do, even if I was on the street, if I saw some kid like having a hard time, I would freak out. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Like, somebody call. If I couldn't call it, I'd tell somebody else to call. I would drop everything to try to save this child. Instead, unfortunately, it looks like they tried to cover it up. But like I said, I hope that her parents sue this school district for millions of dollars. Yeah, I really do.
And until we learn otherwise, that's exactly what it seems like. I can't understand why adults seeing a child in clear health crisis would not do all they could except covering CYA. That's unless we learn otherwise, like someone wasn't at their station, someone didn't understand, but the mother was cold. So you knew something was wrong. It's another one we'll keep following. I too hope she sues, but I'm just most pleased that it appears Takaya is doing better.
Yeah.
This is Indisputable, on with one of our favorites. Always special day when Jackson White joins us as co-host, politics and paper, and so much more. Appreciate you. Looks like you got a new freshener, your hair.
Just a little. I washed it yesterday. I got to go to the barbershop though. I'm going on Thursday, so I can really get fresh. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But I appreciate that.
Well, you're looking clean, Jackson, and we appreciate your presence here. Much more indisputable when we come right back.
You're about to watch some behind the scenes footage of the Young Turks.
Ooh.
Now, these are partial videos. If you want to get all of them, you become a member, go to tyt.com/join, and you'll get all the behind the scenes of me, Anna, John, JR, a little bit reality show like. tyt.com/join and enjoy this.
You know what you're seeing behind me? Jersey, hold. Watch me flip this camera. How do I flip it? Do I flip it like this? No, I just took a picture. I'm bitsing right now.
What?
Behind the scenes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
For members? I don't have my face on.
She doesn't have her face on, folks. Oh, that's JR's ass right there.
You can't take 5 minutes off, can you?
No, I can't, Johnny. Bye. I said it was live stream, but I was lying. It's not a live stream. It's just for members.
Bitsy, this is my cat. You know what his name is? Kiki Cat.
Animals are innocent.
Control room and the insanity is obviously there.
Right now, as you can see, I'm directing or tech directing.
I'm so happy to be here.
This is what like a Labor Day beard looks like for Jank. Man, you're a Young Turks viewer if you recognize me like this.
Oh, thank you. You are the one person in my life I would love to meet.
What's going on, guys? This is a Bitsy or a BTS or behind the scenes with Hassan Piker, aka Woke Bay.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there.
I have finished my show, The Damage Report, and now I get into a really awkward time of the day.
When I'm sitting, the control room is right there. So I can see Bart.
And this is the Pittsburgh office, by the way. Referred to often as the boiler room.
You see how it's ripped? Is it super unprofessional to wear that at a business meeting? Or am I like cool rebel?
I just finished doing the power panel and I'm fired up.
What do you do for TYT?
Not a whole lot.
If you're frantically tweeting at us that something's broken, thank you, because I'm fixing it.
And thank you for being a TYT member.
Super last thing, because there's always got to be a super last thing. Oh, that was disastrous. This has been behind the scenes, behind the scenes.
Indisputable is still the fastest growing news show in America compared to CNN, Fox News, and 30 other networks. We tell the truth on Indisputable because the truth is indisputable. We go places that other news media outlets refuse to go. When there were human rights abuses happening at the Victorville prison, guards and members of the community contacted us.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
It really doesn't take much to be a trusted voice. All it takes is to be fearless, report on matters, be an advocate. I called it the bullpen intentionally because it's a place of preparation. We present individuals who may have an opposing view, so we debate. Sometimes we interview individuals because their stories deserve to be heard. A survivor of significant police misconduct and his attorney. We covered this story earlier and to remind you of the horror of one man being shot at damn near 100 times by the police. We take time on this show to showcase the temper tantrums of Karens in the wild. We do this not because we want to see people's emotional outbursts in public, but because these incidents are emblematic of a bigger societal issue taking place across the nation, and it has to be checked.
My friend, my big homie, attorney at law, Benjamin Crump.
I just want to thank you, man. Educated, articulate brothers like yourself speak truth to power. It makes a great difference in changing the landscape in America. So
listen, no matter what you do, don't allow the politics of ideology to evaporate the soul that still exists inside of you. They don't stop, I don't stop. Racism won't stop, I won't stop. Systemic bias won't stop, I won't stop. People still need health care, so I won't stop. People still need criminal justice systems reform, so I won't stop. You won't stop either.
Welcome back to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, Sharon Reed alongside co-host Jackson White. Today, Doc has the day off. We're honored to be here. And I want to remind you, there's only one way to stay true when you are part of the press. and you're looking at it. I mean, not me per se, but TYT. We should remind you, powerful network that stands apart from the mainstream media because TYT is powered by the people and not by corporate interest. It means everything, folks. At TYT, we dare to be positive and keep hope alive. Change is not possible. It is inevitable as long as we work together. But you guys know that. It's a family operation. It really is. Join TYT today. Support our courageous coverage at tyt.com/team. Family, team, that's what it's all about. I love it when they throw that up. Look at the powerful lineup right here. And we appreciate your support always. The most powerful audience, most powerful membership in all of media. Get to some of your comments now. On the update, the black teen who acted in self-defense, according to court officials, in the Kaylee Gain fight. Dex has this to say: if the black child had a cracked skull, I guarantee you that the wannabe thug in training, white child, would be at home with her family. This debate is not about the two children involved in the altercation. It is more a function of the racially biased white adults in the community trying to flex. The judge is a problem. I have to agree with that. Again, children shouldn't be demonized no matter what troubles they're having. But the system, it's flawed. I mean, we all have to agree on that, don't we? About the kindergartner, Kaya, was given poisonous candies. Well, the cat just walked by, and I never know what these animals are up to. You try living here, okay? I never know what they're up to. That's why I looked off camera, folks. I apologize to Jay Casa. How does a 6-year-old have access to this stuff? What kind of household are they in to give another kid this stuff? Again, we're not demonizing children, but that's something that, Jackson, we didn't talk about, right? Where did this other kid get the pills? And shouldn't there be a wildly intense investigation into that? What's
Absolutely.
going on?
Why does the kid even that knowledgeable on drugs if he's in kindergarten?
Right. Knew it was poison, according to Dakaya. That's what was said. Ha ha. You got some poison there. YouTube. Also an update on the black teenager who acted in self-defense. The Brown says, of course, they tried to vilify the victim. It is sad. I want to thank you, G. Martinez Mack. What the hell is up with these schools being so dismissive towards kids having these types of crisis level events on their property and under their supervision? You know, schools are made up of just people, human beings, and human beings make mistakes. But I think you make a powerful point here. The immediacy of the reaction to disengage, look the other way, what appears to be a covering up, that's a real problem, real problem. Kindergartner given poisonous candies at school. Biden flavor corn pop says, this is Twitch. Trace that drug. How did a kindergartner child get hold of an edible drug? We're asking the same question. We'll get more of your comments as the show goes on. Right now, well, let's call it a throwback. Male Karens mess around and find out with a moose. It's an animal edition of I Wish a Karen Would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Being scared and trampling you.
Is it your moose?
It's not my moose, but it's a goddamn wild animal. Get the away from it, you idiots.
I'll cover mooses at no expenses, man.
Let it be wild. Don't have to like. Jesus Christ, you guys must be the dumbest people I've ever met in my life.
God.
Go ahead, touch it. Go ahead, try. Go ahead, try. See what happens. See what the happens. See how long that leg will go.
Settle down.
Get the away from the moose.
You're wishing it would hit me right now.
Yeah, I am.
Me and Javi might hit both of you guys. No problem.
A little closer.
If the moose don't.
A little closer.
Go on.
You guys are idiots.
Don't touch it.
Get him.
Yeah, get him. Yes. Get him. Get him.
It's the surprise at the end. And I'm going to tell you more about this one, but I must say, I began as, we watched that through thinking about, when someone is an alcoholic and their family wants to support them and they join Al-Anon. Is that what it's called? I believe it's Al-Anon, right? Teaches them how to support others who are in crisis. And I really felt that the person who was filming and saying, you don't want to do this. How stupid are you? Please stop. I thought, well, there's someone who's trying to support a friend. There's Al-Anons for friends and family. And then when we got to the last part, the person cheered on the moose. And I said, you can't really, that's not what they want you to do when you're trying to be supportive. That's that last part. We would have clipped it right as the moose charged. Then I say, well, they did all they could. Okay. According to ABC7 Chicago News, 2 men in Montana are lucky to be alive after a moose charged at them despite ignoring warnings from residents to leave the animal alone. The person who recorded the video said neither man was hurt other than some bruised egos. And I would like to say this, Jackson, before I turn it over to you fully. I note the moose had tremendous restraint. The moose really didn't want, the moose was not inviting this. The moose stood there, stoic. I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't even want to scare you. I just want to walk about and mind mine. But they wouldn't let the animal be, Jackson.
The moose definitely seemed like it was just annoyed. Luckily, it didn't get too mad. When I was looking at this, I thought this is a perfect commercial for Alcoholics Anonymous because these guys were clearly off the influence of alcohol. They sounded like it. They looked like it. But man, mooses are huge. Side note, the plural form of moose should be meese, just like goose in geese, but it's not. So, but meese are huge. They're like 8 feet at the shoulder. And this one didn't have horns at the time. And if it did, I don't know if it was a female or if it just wasn't in mating season and its horns were like the rut or whatever that they call it. But yeah, these guys are definitely lucky to not only be alive, but not be seriously injured because, like the man in the camera said, this is a wild animal just going about its business and just let it do its thing. Just leave it alone.
And lots of people get angered when, particularly in certain parts of the country, wildlife is more prized and there's a desire to preserve nature, and more so than other parts. If you grow up in a city, you may not see some of these enormous creatures. But what did you make of we'll call it the historian here, because this is a throwback mail, Karen, so they documented this incredible encounter, okay? What did you make of, was it too much? After pleading and begging and documenting that this person then said, get him. I thought this was, no, Jackson, come on now. I understand people, grown men, and get what you deserve, but come on now. It sounded like a child in a schoolyard.
Maybe they're just used to it. Like maybe they're very used to being around moose and maybe like they're in, brown bear country, grizzly bear country or something like that. I mean, I don't know where they are. They're obviously somewhere up north, Alaska or something. I don't know. Who knows? But my only guess would be they're just used to this kind of wildlife because otherwise I'd be freaking out. I'd be like, oh my God. I mean, like, yeah, this dude's about to get trampled by a 10-foot tall moose, but I guess they're used to it.
They could be. It was Montana.
Oh,
but I'm not going to let you off the hook, Jackson. I need you to emphatically, one side or the other. Are you with the person who documented this and at the end, very petty-like, said, get him. Or do you think it was too much?
Maybe it was a little much, but maybe they have an ongoing beef with one another. You know what I'm saying? So if they have an ongoing beef, I can forgive it. But that whole clip was just wild. The whole thing. Bad idea. Don't mess with moose. If you see a moose, just leave it alone.
That's why we call it a throwback. A throwback edition of I Wish a Karen Would. Wild animals attack. They prefer what wild animals are.
The
Provoked.
animals are innocent. That's that
Right.
TYT, that famous TYT thing. Animals are innocent.
There it is. Let's bring that back all the way back because it applies. We'll move on. I do have a thing when I order. I'm one of these people. It gets on my family members' nerves, friends. But I like my things just so. I like them just so. If I say extra cheese, I want extra cheese. Extra cheese means extra cheese. I'm willing to pay extra for the extra cheese. But I do want my sandwich the way I want it, the way I've asked for it. However, there are limits. Man attacks a Subway manager over not getting extra ham. You got to look at your life, people. Let's get into this one. Surveillance cameras caught the moment a customer punched General Manager Monique Larios in the face at Subway, all because he didn't get the extra meat he claimed he requested on his sandwich. Larios spoke to local news outlets about what led up to the altercation, which happened last Thursday at a Subway store in Madera, California. Look at the shiner. Again, what happened here? Why? Not enough ham, as requested on the sandwich. Quote, I still can't feel half of my face, Larios stated. I'm scared that there's going to be some kind of permanent damage. I've never been so numb to where my face feels like it's a mask. Larios said she was called into work that day after a customer complained to an employee that he didn't get double ham on his sandwich, according to KABC. The store had proof he only paid to have 6 extra slices of meat, but he was upset he didn't get 12 slices. And a black star filling in the details. That's when he went around the counter, took his frustration out on Larios. I did not expect it, Larios said, according to the local outlet. He comes around the corner. I go, what are you going to do? Hit me over ham? And he hit me. He punched me. All I could remember was just black. Surveillance video shows the moment the customer attacked Larios before another customer tackled him to stop the assault as other employees intervened. The Good Samaritan struck the assailant in the face at least 3 times, allowing employees to run to safety behind the counter. Again, as you look at the surveillance images, folks, let's remind you again, what is this over? Meat, ham, processed meat on a sandwich. And someone saying, I didn't get the extra amount I requested. The assailant, who police identified as George Sandoval, arrested, charged with battery. Larios, who is 4'11", told KFSN she felt scared being assaulted by a man who was allegedly 6'5" and more than 400 pounds.
Yeah.
I did not deserve this at all. I was in there just doing my job. There was nothing wrong. The sandwich was made up to Subway standards. I don't know. He didn't even give me a chance to try to figure it out. What did he want? Larios questioned. Larios is on leave from her position for the time being, but she said she plans to take legal action against Sandoval. You know, Jackson, I even hate the last quote from the victim here, this innocent victim. I don't care if they made the sandwich below Subway standards. What the hell gives you the right to run around the counter and attack an employee over anything but ham? Your initial reaction?
Prison is my initial reaction. He should go to prison for several years. This is literally what prison is for. People who do stuff like this. And I know I say that a lot, but it's a good reminder, you know, because in terms of the prison system, we have a lot of nonviolent offenders in there. But this is not the case for this guy, especially if he was 6'5", over 300 pounds. I mean, that's as big as me, but heavier. So like, and she's 4'11". I mean, and even if it was a man, like what are you doing? Like, you have that big of anger problems? You know what I'm saying? And we're not talking about children here. So this dude just needs to be thrown in prison. I mean, in her eye, like I've been boxing on and off my whole life, and I'd have been beat up in the ring. That's part of it. I ain't never had no black eye like that ever. Like he hit her. Nah, man, this dude needs to be locked up 100%.
Yeah, and can request all the extras there,
right,
in the buffet line.
Exactly.
And while he's at it, make some prison nachos, okay, and these other specialties that the inmates chef up. Some people need this kind of reform. I think this person is, I agree with you, extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
Lacks any kind of temperament or emotional control. This person should be removed from society and dealt with because we cannot trust him. Cannot trust Mr. Sandoval.
No, not at all.
In the presence of others. It's outrageous what happened here. Absolutely outrageous. One detail that jumped out at me. So the Good Samaritan gets around the counter and is able to subdue this assailant, punches to the face, tackling, until the details go. The employees were able to run away. Now, I took that to mean more than just Ms. Larios, who couldn't feel her face and was instantly hurt. I would have hoped that others joined in to make sure this wild, out of control assailant does not escape the grip. Is it just me looking too far into the details?
I mean, it depends on who you're dealing with. You know, it's not even necessarily that not everybody is equipped or willing to be violent, but also, even if you are, like, sometimes stuff just catches you off guard. Like, you don't expect that to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's easy to say what you would do, but if something goes down like that, it's like, well, like, you know, it's not like you're trained for it. And again, this guy's big, 6'5", over 300 pounds, like
400.
I don't know about all that, but I don't know about all that. He didn't look that big, but definitely a big guy. But you know, now he can see how tough he is in prison.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you could go do that in prison because that's not everybody pissed off in prison. Don't nobody want to be there. You know, so go be a tough guy there with people who are just as big as you.
They enjoy it.
Or smaller, but they in there for life, so they ain't got nothing to lose, and they'll just stab you up.
I have a feeling that I don't have documentation. The production team, as you know, is top shelf here at Indisputable. I don't know this, but I suspect Mr. Sandoval has priors and has attacked other women before. That's just my opinion. I'll give you that disclaimer. But you don't behave in this over extra ham.
Over anything. Unless it's purely self-defense, you know, like if it's not purely self-defense, you can't be out here fighting as an adult. Like it's just not the thing to do.
Not but also, over truffles, not over Kobe beef,
right? Kosher dill pickles, whatever it is. But yeah, no, this is egregious, ridiculous, and I agree with you. This is not the first time that he's assaulted a woman. Absolutely not.
We'll keep following it through, let you know Mr. Sandoval's ultimate fate, if you will. A man who shot neighbor, taunted Black sons with racist threats. Illinois. John Shadbar, charged with a hate crime, attempted murder, other charges, after he allegedly shot his neighbor, Melissa Robertson, in what deputies believe was a racist incident. Deputies reported Robertson underwent surgery, is recovering from her wounds. So you're there in the hospital. And then you see the assailant on the left. Robertson's family telling NBC Chicago that Shadbar had been racially hostile towards them, since they moved to the neighborhood 10 years ago. Robertson, who is white, has 2 black sons. Family members said Shadbar would fire his gun and throw fireworks into their yard regularly. Dead N-words, N-word this, N-word lover, called me the N-word straight to my face. My mom made him apologize. A few days later, he comes out holding a gun in his underwear. Mikael Johnson, Robertson's son, said to the local outlet. And a black star on top of this one, too. Family said they had called police numerous times about the racist harassment to no avail. It wasn't until the shooting things came to a head. They would say, unfortunately, as wrong and hateful as it is, it's freedom of speech. Nothing they can do, Johnson said. This did not need to happen at all. Not just our lives, but his life, his wife's, our neighbors are all affected by it. May 7th, witnesses told authorities Shadbar fired dozens of shots at his neighbor with an assault-style rifle while they were outside, and then started walking around his property still armed. When police and first responders got to the scene, they found the victim, rushed her to a nearby hospital in critical condition. At that point, Shadbar had barricaded himself inside his home. After a crisis negotiator got him on the phone, he surrendered himself to authorities. He made several incriminating statements while talking with the negotiator, that according to the sheriff's office. Robertson's niece, Natalie Baker, who started the online fundraiser, saying since the story began to spread, the gunman's wife has lost her rank of sergeant with the Cook County Department of Corrections and is being investigated. A GoFundMe was launched to help pay for Robertson's medical expenses. As of May 13th, it's raised nearly $11,000 of its $75,000 goal. And you see it there asking for support. Melissa Robertson's Medical Recovery Fund. It's an uphill battle. The costs are enormous. And then, of course, there's the emotional cost, the trauma inflicted on this family. Something that sticks out at me, Jackson, is, I always look for what could have been done better. Gun in his underwear, the son says, the victim's son, at one point, after calling them the N-word. I like to look at these people who are drains on society. They're drains. Yes, there's freedom of speech, and I don't want that to change. But I look at these people akin to blight in a city. You live next to a rundown place. It's bringing down your property value. It's perhaps threatening your health. Rodents move in. All kinds of things occur. Buildings fall. Children get hurt. A lot of things happen. And so you have to go through a process. And then eventually, if the city is working as it should, building gets torn down, the house is demolished, the owner is sought to pay the fees. I wish there was something like that. It shouldn't take a mother being shot, recovering, her kids home to see things, the neighborhood terrorized, for there to finally be action. A negotiator was brought in. This fool was holed up in his home. And sure, we need to know more about what the wife is under investigation for, but what say you about, I don't know, what could have been done here? Isn't there a better way?
Yeah, to me, this really highlighted an issue that people all across the country have, particularly women, when they're dealing with men who are stalking them or men who are harassing them or threatening them in some type of way. I know a lot of people, a decent amount of people, at least throughout my life, who have had people, knock the windows out of their cars, stab their tires, pop up on them, spy on them. And police were called over and over again. But if you don't have very hard evidence, then police can't really do much of anything. If you aren't able to record somebody coming into your house, and then after that, you still may need even more proof on top of the fact that if you aren't in maybe a wealthier neighborhood, or you yourself aren't a wealthier person or more notable, then police don't really care. Oftentimes they respond to stuff like after she got shot, then they'll pull up. But if you just say, I'm getting harassed, I'm getting death threats, they probably ain't gonna do nothing at all whatsoever. And again, I know that women really deal with this a lot. Obviously not with every man that they date, but a lot of women, maybe one guy in their past has stalked them or abused them in some type of way, and police ain't do nothing. So I think that this definitely needs to be addressed in the litigation process on what more can be done, especially given the fact that there's so many mass shootings. There's so many loopholes we got to address.
Yeah, and I just wish that, and thank you for acknowledging what women, me included, have been through, real, perpetual stalking, scary stuff. But thank you for recognizing that, it's not just freedom of speech. We all have that right, sure, but aren't we supposed to have the right to peace, the right to the pursuit of happiness? How can you do that when you have a monster living next door? It really is that serious to me. And I just think, listen, we're passing laws that mean nothing. I got it. But it just seems that there's a way. It's like after Nicole Brown Simpson, Ron Goldman were murdered. Do you remember before that, Jackson, that there was this thing where police would just say, hey, you guys separate for the night. They wouldn't take anyone in. But laws changed because of that case. Whether you agree with it or not, laws change. This is indisputable. Honored to be alongside Jackson White today, Politics and Paper. Check it out. You're on fire. You're on fire with the things that you do, and we love it. We love it.
I do my best.
You do great. We're in for Doc today. I think Doc would be okay with us. Sometimes I misbehave and you come along for the ride, Jackson. But today we're relatively well behaved, and I appreciate that. I'll try to continue. My blood sugar's low. Had a busy morning, so who knows what'll happen as we get into the rest of Indisputable. We'll be right back.
Indisputable is still the fastest growing news show in America compared to CNN, Fox News, and 30 other networks. We tell the truth on Indisputable because the truth is indisputable. We go places that other news media outlets refuse to go. When there were human rights abuses happening at the Victorville prison, guards and members of the community contacted us.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
It really doesn't take much to be a trusted voice. All it takes is to be fearless, report on matters, be an advocate. I called it the bullpen intentionally because it's a place of preparation. We present individuals who may have an opposing view, so we debate. Sometimes we interview individuals because their stories deserve to be heard. A survivor of significant police misconduct and his attorney. We covered this story earlier and to remind you of the horror of one man being shot at damn near 100 times by the police. We take time on this show to showcase the temper tantrums of Karens in the wild. We do this not because we want to see people's emotional outbursts in public, but because these incidents are emblematic of a bigger societal issue taking place across the nation, and it has to be checked.
My friend, my big homie, attorney at law, Benjamin Crump.
I just want to thank you, man. Educated, articulate brothers like yourself speak truth to power. It makes a great difference in changing the landscape in America. So
listen, no matter what you do, don't allow the politics of ideology to evaporate the soul that still exists inside of you. They don't stop, I don't stop. Racism won't stop, I won't stop. Systemic bias won't stop, I won't stop. People still need health care, so I won't stop. People still need criminal justice systems reform, so I won't stop. You won't stop either.
Let's pretend the race is held today.
I've got Trump at 279, 259. I gave him Florida, Ohio,
No, listen, so in his life, he's had a great track record of failure, bankruptcies, running from Vietnam, everything like that. But he's a populist candidate when the country is angry and you've run, and it's the most establishment candidate we've ever seen against him. It was a terrible idea by the Democrats to support Hillary
Clinton. So you're so hot against him today because you think he's going to win.
If the Democrats are not really, really worried that in this populist time, Donald Trump doesn't have an excellent chance to win, they're completely wrong.
A big victory there for Donald Trump. Key state, no Republican has ever won the White House without winning Ohio. Donald Trump has won it.
Biden's going to lose.
Here, I don't want you to quote me later. I don't want it to be Biden. I don't want to be proven right.
Trump would be a betting favorite. In 2020, maybe he was the only one who could have beaten Trump. I think now he's the only one who will lose to him. He cannot run.
I don't think Trump should run. I don't think President Biden should run.
David Axelrod, longtime Democratic strategist who has defended Biden time and time again. After Axelrod floated the idea earlier this month that Democrats might need the president to consider whether he's the best nominee for the party next year, Biden was reportedly so angered that he referred to Axelrod as a prick.
Biden's not up by 12 points. He can't coast to victory. He's losing. If he does not make up ground, Trump wins.
Tell me about the shirt you're wearing.
Pretty much speaks for itself. What's the penalty for treason? Death. Everything was phenomenal under Donald Trump, and now it's Obama calling the shots right now. It ain't Biden.
So it's Obama calling the shots?
I believe so. None of this would be happening if they hadn't stolen the 2020 election from Trump and we the people.
If you could have an option of 4 years of Donald Trump as a dictator or 4 years of Joe Biden as a president, what would you choose?
Donald Trump.
This is Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Doc has earned the day off. Jackson White is with us as special co-host today. I'm Sharon Reed. And let's get some comments. Jackson, a lot of people, well, we gave the audience, if you're just joining us, a throwback male Karen moment. This is what happens when you mess around with a moose. You find out. And these two fools found out. TYT members first. Dragons don't know I'm not real bacon, says. And the winner of the Darwin Award goes to, yeah, we get it. I mean, it was crazy, okay? It was crazy. I wish we could show this meme of Doc that Craig Souffle posted. Stop moosing around or get bullwinkled. Okay, come on now. It's very corny, but it makes me chuckle. It just makes me chuckle, okay? It does. YouTube now. Throwback male Karens mess around, find out with the moose. You gonna post it again? Dragons don't know I'm not real bacon. Okay, I'll say it again. The winner of the Darwin Award goes to. Now, about that man who attacked the Subway manager over not enough ham. It's infuriating. She can't feel her face. Her eye is black. She doesn't know she'll have permanent damage. G. Martinez Mack says.
He broke her eye socket or something.
Yeah. It's probably what happened, a broken eye socket.
It was bad. That's why I said I've been boxing my whole life and never.
G. Martinez Mack says, is this real life right now? What are they making those Subway sandwiches with? Are they seasoning the ham with meth, crack, and coke? He severely dotted her eye. Yeah, and here's the thing. I'll give the disclaimer. The network is not claiming in any way that Subway sandwiches or their meat products are laced with anything, okay? We're not doing that. But the point is, who acts like that over ham or anything, as Jackson said? Right. Remember, I said truffle. It's not worth it. And what are you doing? What do you think you are? Mr. Sandoval. One more for you, YouTube member, James Thompson. Thank you. Gifted 10 Indisputable with Dr. Ritchie memberships. We appreciate you. We do, James Thompson. Thank you. We are going to move on to this next one. Got to be a bad somebody to do this. Tennessee family trapped at home by a racist white neighbor. Just going to pull out all the stops, huh? Tennessee, David Collins faces charges after he allegedly shouted racial slurs at a mixed-race family who was touring a home for sale next door and began beating on the door, threatening to burn down the property with them inside. Collins remains jailed on charges of attempted aggravated burglary and civil rights intimidation. Like we said, outrageous. Family that was targeted, compromising of one Black person and 2 Asian individuals, arrived on April 30th to view the vacant home outside Memphis. While the family was inside viewing the residence, Collins appeared and allegedly began banging and kicking the front door, trying to break it in, police said, according to reports. Thank you, Atlanta Black Star, for giving us the details on this one. Neighbor John DeHoff, who lives next door to the home, said he heard Collins outside yelling at the top of his voice. Around this time, Collins began hurling racial slurs at the family, also threatened to kill them, vowing the man, woman, their daughter would not live to see another day if they didn't open the door to him. During the harrowing incident, Collins allegedly threatened to set fire to the house with the family inside, leaving them feeling trapped and afraid for their lives. That's when DeHoff said he heard enough, went outside to intervene, but that didn't stop Collins, who allegedly scaled the fence and proceeded to kick the glass door in the rear of the home in another attempt to break in. The daddy was scared for his wife and daughter, which is normal, DeHoff said. I stayed here with the girl, mama, and daddy until the police came. Let's get to the standoff. Well, it lasted several minutes before Collins threatened to return to his house to get something to, quote, take care of the matter. Police did not arrive at the scene for some time, allowing the situation to escalate. He thought they were illegal aliens. This is a quote. DeHoff said, "This ain't the first time. It's not black or white garbage. He just has problems comprehending who people are." Oh, he's got problems. The man eventually went home before police arrived and escorted the family safely off the property. Following an investigation, Millington Police Department officers arrived at the scene 2 days later. At that time, they arrested Collins. So where do we go with this one? I remember in college, I lived in an apartment. There's 4 of us, 2 and 2 in each room. My roommate moved out. I would have loved to have a single for the rest of the school year. You know how valuable that is? I wanted it. University started sending over people who joined late, whatever. Here's a spot for you. And I acknowledge my roommates and I, 2 girls on the basketball team, I was on the track team. We might have left the place a mess when we knew somebody was coming to check it out. But that's all we did. And it wasn't race-based, wasn't sexist, wasn't anti-immigration. And by the way, you don't know anything about this family. So I don't know why you're acting like this. This is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But Jackson, I need to once again start from the bottom up. After everything that went down and all the witnesses, including Mr. DeHoff, why does it take 2 days to arrest this fool?
Because they don't care. I mean, I don't really see what other logical reason there would be, because imagine what could have happened within those 2 days. So many things could have went down. I mean, this guy sounds like he doesn't need to be in prison. He needs to be in an asylum. Like he got problems for real. He's totally incoherent. He doesn't know what's going on. And he clearly doesn't have anything to live for. But this family could have been murdered. They could have been severely injured. All types of stuff could have happened too. I mean, if you don't wait, what's the point of even coming if you wait 2 days later?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like by then, it's like it's not even just that the incident is over. Like, what are you really gonna do? You know, so this dude clearly needs constant supervision. But yet another indictment on law enforcement for really just not caring about protecting and serving unless you got money.
You know, and you make a strong point, leaving this family probably saying they don't really care about us. Michael Jackson had a song about it. Michael Jackson had a hit. King of Pop's music resonates with this story. You don't really care if you're showing up 2 days later. It's called in. They already said they didn't arrive timely. And I didn't quite understand the explanation by one witness who says, Well, he doesn't, it's not about black or white. This guy is a racist and lacks balance. I'm not a doctor, so that's as far as I'm willing to go, but you understand what I'm getting at. This guy lacks balance. And you're probably right about where he needs to be, get some assistance. But at the end of the day, we can sort that out later. Mm-hmm. Right now, you had tried to kick in the glass and you said, come on out here. And you were also quoted as saying you were going back to your house to get something to, quote, take care of the matter. I'll give you the last word, Jackson.
Lock this dude up. That's really all there is to it. He looks like he sits in the house all day for years and doesn't do anything else. I mean, my last word, period, is just get this guy off the streets.
Get him off the street. And you might be right. Staying inside all the time, you're not getting vitamin D, you're not getting sunlight. Again, I'm not a doctor, but it's not healthy. The behavior is insane. This is indisputable. I'm Sharon Reed alongside Jackson White. I told you my blood sugar was getting a little low. Okay, but I can still understand what's going on here. Dissect it, commentate, conversate, and we'll do more of that when Indisputable comes right back.
Do all of you know the Young Turks?
An outlet like yourself that are willing to cover this story from the very beginning.
You have the Young Turks and a bunch of other progressive forces saying this is the time to fight for our values.
And I think right now there are a lot of progressive voters, many leftists who feel like they don't have a home.
And this is why what Cenk and the Young Turks are doing is so important.
What we've done is sustainable, slow, healthy growth. And I think that's the way news should be, where you don't rely on sensationalist stuff. You don't lean on whatever's trendy in the news at any given moment. You just go with the truth.
You gave me a platform.
You've uplifted so many other progressive voices through this network, and you're constantly looking for people that you can amplify through the work we do, through the infrastructure that you built at TYT.
It takes those early people who believe that can really be the seeds of this movement, and that has been the Young Turks.
We're super serious about the news. We also managed to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We're not TYT, you're TYT.
Welcome to the Damage Report. I'm John Idarola. This is gonna be a big one. Meanwhile, in the Arctic, you know where this is going. You watch the Damage Report, the Arctic's on fire. Obviously, why would we be talking about the Arctic except to tell you that it's melting once again? The Republicans aren't that interested in it. I wonder why. Lift out of poverty up to 3.7 million people, including an estimated 1.3 million children. Hashtag save the children? Not if it costs money. I mean, come on.
Cenk Uygur joins us.
We are progressive and unapologetically so. Very happy to say that millennial and Gen Z generations are massively progressive along with us. Lynn, do you support Donald Trump?
Yes, I like Donald Trump.
Well, that's why we think you're racist. The 5 black kids in Central Park did not commit the rape. He said, who cares? Keep them in prison anyway. They probably did something. He's a terrible guy. Very fine people on the side of chanting, Jews will not replace us. Called Latinos criminals and rapists.
The most important part is we've got to fix it. And fixing it means you have to acknowledge the problem. They don't value black lives. They don't value poor lives. And anyone who's against Black Lives Matter is a racist piece of crap, including Donald Trump and nearly every Republican politician in this country. You're a full-blown racist if you still don't believe it, and you still don't want any reform, and you still don't want any justice.
The media can't stop talking about gridlock in Washington, as if a handful of stubborn Republicans are the only thing standing between us and a fully functional democracy. The reality is that our government was taken over by big business and their allies in both political parties. And corporate media adds to the dysfunction. The good news is that the American people are progressive and soon will take over Washington. My book, Justice is Coming, is our battle plan for making that happen. You can get Justice is Coming wherever books and audiobooks are sold.
Welcome back to Indisputable. I am Sharon Reed alongside Jackson White in for Dr. Richie today. Proud to sit in the chair. Let's give you this next one. Model featured in Mean had career ruined by reality show. What's going on here? I'll tell you. Watch.
Is Noah Lonnie still modeling?
To check out my latest shoot, you can go to my Instagram. It's all there. Hi, it's Noelani from The Face Australia. That was me 10 years ago in that last clip. Am I still modeling? This challenge was not like the America's Next Top Model where you can actually get a proper photo shoots and they pick the strongest. This was one shot only. So because of that one shot that aired, I was essentially cancelled from the entire Australian fashion industry, and I'm still cancelled. I lost my agency, I got dropped, all my potential work that I had overseas was dropped as well. I lost relationships with designers, photographers, was unable to do fashion weeks, and I was unable to do editorials and even film work. Not many people know that there was another challenge, which was the runway challenge. I won that. It didn't air, but that one shot did. And unfortunately, I'm still cancelled from the industry.
Okay, this breaks my heart. That's my strong reaction. I'll tell you more behind the reasoning. But let's give you the details. Former model Noelani Patero from The Face Australia reality TV modeling competition series, judged by supermodels Naomi Campbell, Cheyenne Tazi, Nicole Trumpio, is reliving a fateful moment from the show as it has since turned into a viral meme. Larger context of that challenge was Noelani, who is now an R&B recording artist, being asked by Naomi Campbell to strike a pose that some deemed a little too fierce. I mean, she put everything on it. I mean, look at it. She committed fully to the pose, and maybe it missed the mark. I don't know, but let's allow her to explain further why it wasn't just that pose alone that upended her career.
How was one shot actually able to get me cancelled from the Australian fashion industry? Let's go back to the beginning. Australia is the only colonised country in the Commonwealth that does not have a treaty with its First Nations people. Our country actually created systemic genocide by stealing Indigenous children and placing them with white families in order to breed out Indigenous blood. This was a systemic government decision. And because we have no precedent of a treaty, anyone that is a minority in this country are villainised or seen as the butt of all jokes in media. So for me to have my loss shown in that one shot and not my win, that was pretty much falling in line of systemic racism and how it plays out in our media. With a name like Noelani and being ethnic and having an afro, I stood out at castings as a remembrance of that girl who failed and they didn't show the win on the show, so I got cancelled.
Wow. And so, see, this brings in the part now why I said I find what she said already to be heartbreaking, that it's all these years later and she's still reliving it, but there is reliving with purpose. And I guess that's what you could say about this one. So here's how she feels about doing just that.
I got a question about how do I feel that the videos reemerged after 10 years and gone viral. I'll be honest, I had a full-blown anxiety attack and felt really overwhelmed when this happened, and I still get them now and then during periods. So much I did go to NZ just to have a break. I need people to realize, like, I'm reliving a trauma and I'm reliving it on a global scale this time. And, you know, empathy does go a long way. We're in a generation where mental health is so openly spoken. I think people need to realize that we are people too, those that go on the reality TV. It is a show. It is meant to be hyper centralized. We're coerced. We're manipulated. Things are taken out of context. And there really is no duty of care or any safe spaces for us as contestants on these shows. Those that are going through their own mental health journey, I keep pushing, keep going. 10 years and I'm still standing, baby.
Well, she's strong. And that's a powerful statement she's made there. She talked about trauma. She talked about, you know, her circumstance today, empathy, all things that should resonate with anyone who's had a hiccup, perhaps had it play out online, living in infamy. Meanwhile, according to Zippia, the most common ethnicity among runway models is white. See it there, 55.8% of all runway models. Comparatively, 17.1% Black or African American, 12% runway models, Hispanic or Latino. It's unclear at this point if these numbers reflect the modeling industry globally, but what she said about her native Australia is powerful and, well, it's where we are. If you're a Black or brown person, not recognized, colonized, you understand what she's getting at. If you're not a Black or brown person, you need to listen again and again. Zippia also reported white runway models have the highest average salary compared to other ethnicities. Black or African American runway models have the lowest average salary at $111,224. Just a little more than $110,000. You might say that's not a bad living. We're not talking about whether it's a bad living or not. We're talking about comparatively speaking. What are their white counterparts making? Is that the standard of beauty? Well, per a BBC article from October 2023, more than a dozen Black models boycotted Melbourne Fashion Week, hoping to draw attention to the mistreatment they say they experience in Australia's fashion industry. The models said they had witnessed staff use racial slurs in front of them, had hairdressers make derogatory comments about their hair, and were underpaid in comparison to white models. Again, BBC with the reporting. City of Melbourne spokesperson said their event prided itself on being one of the industry's most inclusive fashion destinations for people from diverse ethnic backgrounds, the LGBTIQ plus community, and those with disabilities. Again, our team is trying to make sure we have all sides of the stories, and that's what you're supposed to do in journalism and storytelling. But I wish to throw up. Still, I'll read the rest of it. We were not aware of any concerns relating to diversity or race involving Melbourne Fashion Week. Discrimination of any kind is not tolerated, the statement added. And again, this is another statement that is ridiculous. Had they ended it with psych, I would say, okay, at least there's that part, right? The disclaimer at the end. But they didn't end it with psych. They just ended it with, we don't tolerate discrimination and blah, blah, blah. But you do. And I think you know you do. And I have not been to Australia, but I know you do. I know it. Okay? I do. 29-year-old model Jeffrey Kisubi told the BBC that MFW, Melbourne Fashion Week, just one of the fashion bodies within the industry that he and his colleagues were boycotting. He said he hoped avoiding Melbourne's top event would draw attention to the broader issues in Australia's fashion industry, help improve working conditions for people of color who experience discrimination. Jackson, I want your first thoughts here, because here we have a woman who's being, well, victimized globally via the internet. She had an awkward moment, right? It's not a mistake. She went for it, okay? When you're a model, you have to be comfortable in your own skin. She went for it. It was not received in a way that was pleasant. What do you make of her resiliency?
I mean, I think that it has been doing the best that she can. And obviously she still looks fantastic. And, I think that she has a pathway forward, not necessarily in Australia, but I think that she still has a pathway forward in fashion and beauty in some type of way. And I definitely can empathize with her by having to relive a trauma and relive an experience. That definitely is hard. But it seems like she just got bullied by gatekeepers within Australia. That's what it seems like to me.
Wow.
Because even if it was a picture that was a bit awkward, so what? Like that's like every model ever has probably most of the pictures in the photo shoot don't look that great. You choose the best ones. So it's really a big who cares, but I guess again, this points to the culture. Obviously, this is the systemic racism in Australia, but also just the culture in general, especially since this happened initially a decade ago. But unfortunately, she's having to relive it. But yeah, gatekeepers and racism can lead to stuff like this.
The part where she challenged empathy resonated with me. I wish her the best. I think when these things happen, you can go one or two ways. You can hide and you can curl up in a ball sometimes, figuratively and truly, or you can persevere, keep going, speak out, be an example for others. She is an example, I think a proud one. We're going to move on to this next one. Two powerful singers, two of the most beautiful voices I think I've ever heard. Tyrese and their Anita Baker. The headline is that they left fans disappointed at concerts. Full disclosure, Tyrese is a friend. So I can't join in to any, I'm going to play this one straight, is what I'm saying. Okay. But the voice, I think people forget, actor, Fast and Furious, so talented. That voice is incredible. So why would Tyrese stop singing early? Let's give you the details on this one. Singers Tyrese and Anita Baker, during their recent concerts, left their fans feeling let down, with one leaving their concert early and another canceling their performance altogether just minutes before it was set to start. Why? Why are you doing this, both of you? So what happened with Tyrese's performance? Singer serenading a crowd at the Stockbridge Amphitheater when a security guard attendant whispers something in his ear while he's in the middle of performing. You see it there. Tyrese keeps singing. I mean, he's a pro. He's done so many of these concerts. Well, he keeps singing for a bit before abruptly jumping down from the stage and booking it up the side steps towards the exit, telling the crowd he loves them and continuing to sing. I mean, the lungs on this guy, not just the voice, as he's running out of the amphitheater and still belting out that golden voice. According to TMZ, Tyrese had 3 songs left when he got wind of a process server was at the venue to serve him legal papers pertaining to a lawsuit brought by a man named Brian Barber, who is suing Tyrese for defamation and libel. That's the allegation from Mr. Barber. Barber is suing Tyrese for defamation and libel, claiming that he said some nasty words about him during an appearance on The Breakfast Club. Now, during his appearance, Tyrese said Barber was withholding some footage he wanted, among other things. Barber believed that the R&B singer and actor hurt his reputation and is now seeking $10 million from the Too Fast, Too Furious star. Barber is a music video and movie director who has worked with several popular artists. Again, I'm going to play it straight, but I didn't know who Mr. Barber was until the lawsuit. I'm questioning the $10 million. And not just because I'm friendly with Tyrese. Okay, I think he's a good guy, decent soul, passionate like many musicians are. It's just the $10 million. But again, right down the middle, that's me. Meanwhile, Anita Baker. Fans received this message just minutes before her Mother's Day concert was set to start. Tonight's An evening with Anita Baker. Event canceled. Due to late, unforeseen circumstances, tonight's An Evening with Anita Baker event featuring 8-time Grammy Award-winning superstar Anita Baker, set to take place at State Farm Arena, has been canceled. Refunds will be returned at point of purchase. Now, I don't know why you had to write all that. 8-time Grammy winner, da da da. You're canceling the show. And I don't know why you're hyping it up and then canceling the show. Just cancel the show. No Anita tonight. That's 3 words. That's all you had to say. No Anita tonight. Okay? That's it. It's not what they did. Those who put on their best outfits in celebration of Mother's Day and came out did not hesitate to take to social media and blame Baker, believing she was at fault. So, Mom's Mother's Day present was tickets to the Anita Baker concert tonight. And after making us stand there for over 30 minutes after doors were supposed to open, they just canceled the concert outright. The woman added, I feel bad for the arena staff, though, because people are not happy. And a black star? Atlanta business owner Tamara Jackson in a TikTok video said, quote, I'm peed. You know, Anita Baker. Only she said Anita bald-headed done canceled the concert. I've been waiting for her since January, and her bald-headed canceled. Look at us. We all standing out here ready, waiting, and her bald-headed canceled the concert last minute. Pissed Anita. Run me my money. Now, come on, Tamara. I mean, and I don't want you to start coming for me. I'm not bald-headed, okay? You may think somebody is. I don't know why you're. One of those would have been enough. You got a right to be upset. Mother's Day tickets, blah, 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 blah. But are you a fan or are you going to drag her? I understand. But that's just me. And don't come from me, Tamara, Miss Jackson, if you're nasty. You was in a nasty mood. While the influencer was upset once her video went viral, she issued an apology. There it is, Miss Jackson, and I do appreciate you. It takes a big woman to do this. She apologized to the soul singer using her own song. Operator, get my auntie on the line, she began. I admit that night I was out of control, but I still love Anita with all my body and soul. I mean, that voice, you kind of could do a little bit of what you want. Anita Baker knows that. And we don't know why, do we? Some online have been making memes out of the situation, like John Paul. If I send you this, it means I apologize. But I'm gonna need to cancel. You tried it. Look, I've already put it out there. You know how I feel about Tyrese Jackson. I love Anita too. Are these reactions warranted? Should Tyrese have, I don't know. I don't know. He ran, to me, I'm impressed, and maybe I've set the bar too low because I love him. I love the voice. He ran up the steps, Jackson, still belting out.
Sing it right.
Okay. Does he get credit for that?
Hey, this whole thing is hilarious to me. This man got served papers on stage. Look, listen, if you got something that you owe, they gonna come for you. It don't matter where you at. It don't matter if you in church. It don't matter if you in the middle of a concert. They gonna come serve you them papers. And and then ran off stage singing like, baby, or whatever it was that he would say. Like, I mean, this is classic. I'm not mad at it at all. I'm not. I mean, he's trying to avoid his. But $10 million seems a bit much. That
come
seems
on,
like
Mr. Barber. You understand what I'm saying? I'm getting at
$10 million. Like, come on, bro.
Well, listen. And again, perhaps I can't separate and have journalistic integrity on this, but he put on a show. I mean,
yeah, he was there. That was better than what Anita did because he showed up. You know what I'm saying? He was afraid. Fight or flight took hold, and he just ran up out of there. But he showed up. If them papers wasn't given to him, he probably would have finished the whole thing. But Anita was just like, nah. She was just like, nah, I'm good. I'm Anita Baker. I don't really need to do this. You know what I'm saying? I'll be all right.
Yeah, and again, I don't know why she canceled. We are fresh off of at least recent memory. The whole incident with Babyface and the touring, and I don't know, Babyface, I think, took the high road. But let's start with Tyrese. Should process servers, if that's what went down, be allowed to show up at a public venue, use your celebrity status because it's publicized? Should they be allowed, or should there be something that's off limits?
I don't know. I mean, you got to get them the paper some type of way. You know what I'm saying? I think that changing the laws around this would take a lot of resources and time. So I think that it's just gonna stay like that. You know, if somebody got some papers to serve you, they're gonna find you. They're gonna hunt you down.
And Miss
which
Jackson,
could be a good thing. You know.
Yeah, Miss Jackson, Tamara Jackson, who acknowledged having some emotional moments once she realized the concert was canceled, but to repeatedly refer to one of the greatest singers of all time. There's no other voice like Anita Baker's.
Hey.
And to call her repeatedly this bald-headed A, which I didn't quite understand. I didn't know anything about Anita, her scalp, her I don't know. I think she's a beautiful woman. She can sing, and I don't know why you have to go there. But is that fair? Is the apology enough?
Yeah, the apology's enough. I'm not mad at that either. You know what I'm saying? This is what people do. When people get upset, they talk smack. You know what I mean? Maybe she didn't need to say it publicly. Perhaps she could have just said that in the group chat somewhere.
Perhaps she should be barred, though. I mean, just barred from the next round of concerts. I don't think Anita should let her in. Just out of principle, and then she could come again, but not the next one.
In my opinion, this whole thing was hilarious. I'm not mad at any of it.
But you weren't at the concert. But okay.
Yeah, I wasn't there, so I didn't lose anything from it.
Okay,
you know,
you take it in stride. All right, well, Jackson, remind people where they can find you. Politics and Paper is there for us, not canceled.
Yes. Politics and Paper on YouTube, youtube.com/@politicsandpaper. In addition to news streams, I also recently started mental health programming to help give people resources and information and education on how to better cope with things we all go through. So check me out at youtube.com/@politicsandpaper. Always good to be here with you.
Yeah, I love it. You're doing good work on behalf of people. I may refer some people to the site. I mean, for your program.
Might have to.
We all need it. I may show up, and there's no shame. But we appreciate your efforts, and we appreciate Dr. Rashad Ritchie for allowing us just to be here and sit in the chair for a little while while Doc had the day off. This is indisputable. We hope you'll join us again.